only was it the most severe penalty, but it was also the first issued to a defendant convicted of sedition. The court deemed his actions a threat to American democracy, a peril that had to be addressed. The sentencing hearing was nothing short of intense. Judge Amit P. Mehta, presiding over the case, expressed his grave concerns about Rhodes' persistent efforts to incite violence and undermine the democratic process. The judge's words were stern, emphasizing that Rhodes was not a political prisoner but a man who had prepared for violence solely due to his dissatisfaction with the election results. The courtroom was filled with tension as the judge passed his sentence, ending Rhodes' tumultuous journey and sentencing him to what would likely be the rest of his days. Prosecutors had fought for a 25-year sentence, citing the need for accountability and the preservation of American democracy. They painted a picture of Rhodes as an individual who had been calling for attacks against the government for over a decade, exploiting his influence to mobilize his followers and storm the Capitol in a desperate attempt to keep former President Donald J. Trump in power. The prosecution argued that Rhodes' conduct posed a direct threat to the rule of law in the United States, and his lack of remorse only reinforced the severity of his actions. During the hearing, Rhodes himself took the opportunity to address the court. Clad in an orange prison uniform, he gave a defiant speech, proclaiming himself a political prisoner and comparing his situation to that of a Kafkaesque novel. He blamed the news media for demonizing the Oath Keepers and claimed that his arrest was part of a larger agenda targeting the political right. The sentencing of Stewart Rhodes marked the beginning of a week filled with similar proceedings for other members of the Oath Keepers. The court heard testimonies from police officers and congressional staff members who had experienced the horrors of Jan. 6. Their emotional accounts highlighted the lasting trauma and the devastating toll the attack had taken on their lives. The conviction and sentencing of Rhodes were significant milestones in the Justice Department's investigation into the Capitol attack. The court's decision to apply the terrorism enhancement to his sentence set a precedent in the hundreds of Jan. 6 criminal cases. It was a clear message that the acceptance of political violence would not be tolerated in the United States. The events surrounding the Jan. 6 attack shook the nation to its core. The divisions and tensions that had been simmering beneath the surface erupted into a violent and chaotic scene. But the subsequent legal proceedings sought to restore order, hold those responsible accountable, and send a resounding message that such actions would not be tolerated. As the sentencing hearings continued and more individuals faced the consequences of their actions, the country grappled with the aftermath of a day that would forever be etched in its collective memory.